If you can please, Paxton, play video number 2. Uh, you'll see the second link in the bottom. The first link is just a news article, but if you go to the second link in the bottom, please.
Is it the one
That's
you
it.
want?
Yeah, if
Okay.
you can please expand that. If you can just play it then.
There's been instances here where people have to wait up to 5 years for treatment, but they can have MAID in 91 days.
It would take longer for them to get the medical treatment they needed than to kill themselves.
Exactly. It's our government. And to get rid of people that have chronic conditions that use up a lot of healthcare dollars. And people that they see as non-contributing members of society. So the homeless are being targeted. Elderly are being targeted. Mentally ill are being targeted. Though they say they're on hold, but it's just really just a facade. And children are next. They're trying to push through euthanasia for children with severe illnesses or terminal condition. So the child of a certain age could themselves, without their parents' consent, ask for MAID. That's what they're trying to pass, yeah. And in 2016, 1,018 people chose to die by MAID.
Okay.
In 2017, 2,838 people died by MAID. A doubling at least. 2018, 4,493, double again. 2019, 5,665, and we're entering the pandemic.
Yeah, big turning point.
2020, that jumps to 7,611. 2021 jumps to 10,092. 2022, 13,241. I also couldn't find proof of this, so I can't back it up, but there's also organ donations have gone up exponentially since MAID. That's one of the last things they ask the families if they'll donate their organ.
You're too expensive, but we want your organs. It's dark.
It's evil. There's been instances here where
So, are you ladies familiar with MAID?
Yes.
So it's medically assisted induced death, is it?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is a program that the Trudeau government brought in.
Mhm.
And if you don't even have to be terminally ill.
So when it first came in, you had to be terminally ill, and there was like a whole process, and then they kind of changed the legislation, and they said it's extended to people that suffer from long-term mental health
Or depression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's when the numbers kind of started to skyrocket a little bit in regards to that.
Yeah.
And you didn't even believe me at first. You're like, no, there's no way. And I was like, no, seriously, like it's crazy out there. And like I'm experiencing this right now firsthand. This is one of the topics I wanted to bring up. My father suffers from long-term mental health illness. And this is one of the things he's brought up is it's like, this is something that he's considered. And it's scary because really he's just suffering from mental health issues. And it's like, if our healthcare system had just as quick of a reaction time as the MAID time, then maybe the MAID time numbers would decrease, but it's crazy.
So what they've done is they're trying to pass a bill back in 2023 where it wouldn't just involve people who are terminally ill. So God forbid, let's say if someone's got cancer, they know they've got 6 months left. It's very painful for them. They can't do the chemo anymore. They're on morphine, but there's just so much pain. They would be allowed with their own authority to sign and say, I want to be, euthanized basically and killed. And that was legal. The Trudeau government then wanted to pass that it should not just only be restricted to people who are critically ill. It could be anyone. Anyone. You could be just depressed. And like, I hate my life. I'm sick of it. And I want to end it. I'm like, okay, no problem. Let's make an appointment for you. Come on in and we'll, knock you out on Tuesday at 6:30. So, and now they're targeting children. That's the latest thing where they want to pass a bill that the children will not require a parent's consent. So if a child is 15 and let's say they're having a tough time, just something like puberty, or they're being bullied at school, they can go ahead and be allowed to sign, and they don't need a parent's consent.
So children right now, it's only medical
Yeah.
and long term, but I
Yeah.
think it's going to.
But even then, parents have to consent as well with the children.
But like you said, it's going to lead to that.
So I wanted to hear your guys' thought. First of all, were you familiar with this? Did you have an idea that the numbers were, where they are? And do you think that is it right? So, Kimberly?
I'm kind of a hardcore conspiracy theorist, so this is just one of the many, many, many things that like people are now starting to talk about. So, to be honest, like I'm like, yeah, old news kind of thing. Yeah, about the government and actually caring about our health and our well-being and actually being more detrimental to
But do you agree with that people should be allowed to make that choice as an adult? Forget the children part, but just as an adult, am I allowed to if
See,
if I'm depressed?
personally, I've never seen anybody go through a very difficult death. I've never seen anybody or had somebody in my life really struggle with like terminal cancer or anything. So I can't really say that. Like I would want to say yes. I think everybody has a right to their own body and the freedom to make the choice of what they want to do with their own life.
But not even terminally ill. I'm talking about if a person is just going through severe depression.
That's a different story. There needs to be things implemented by the government to help these people. That needs to be step one before MAID steps in, right? They need to say, okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why are you feeling this way? How can we help this person rather than, how can we just like
Rid of them.
get rid of this person?
Yeah.
It's
Nope.
sad.
Emma?
I think they should have stopped at the point where, like, if you're terminally ill, but then they kept growing, and I didn't like that because if you're terminally ill, like I had an uncle who went through cancer. It was very difficult for him to go through chemo, or it's really hard to see somebody and it's like, okay, this isn't going to work. I want to go peacefully, right? That's one thing. But if you're just an adult or a kid who's just sad, like there was one time in my life when I was so sad, and if I heard about this, I probably would have done it. And it sucks because if I look at my life now,
You would have missed out.
I would have missed out on so many great things. So I don't think that should be an option because it's one chapter in your story. It's not the whole life.
Good point. Good point. Olga?
A little horrifying hearing
Yeah.
some of this stuff. I think when things are too easy, just like the other topic, when things are too easy, they can be corrupted, they could be abused. And children, no way. Like their brains are not fully developed.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
based on our government, a child is developed enough to decide to chop off their wee-wee.
I remember that discussion too. No,
A male brain isn't fully grown and developed until the age of 20.
No, not based
25, I
on,
think.
25.
based on our government.
25, I thought.
Based on our government, you need to be 16 years old to be able to have sex, but you can be 8 years old to decide to change your sex. And you need to be 18 with most tattoo parlors to get a tattoo. So how messed up is that? Right? So when it comes to the government understanding what the age of maturity is, they're too stupid to understand that. So Louise, what are your thoughts on this? Did you know this, first of all, about MAID?
No,
Pretty crazy. So it's almost what are we looking at here? 40 people, 50 people a day in Canada that are, giving up their lives through MAID. 50 people a day.
yeah, I had no idea about this. I think it's a very hot topic to like talk about. I would definitely draw the line for children. I don't think a children should be able to like decide that. They're just not
But
mature
do you
enough.
feel if I'm an adult and I hate my life, I'm not terminally ill, but I hate my life, why am I not allowed to decide to end my life? Who the hell are you guys to stop me from doing
Yeah, I think you should, but it shouldn't be that easy. Like there should be other steps, as she said. Like
Yeah, but that gets too costly for the government.
Well, like that's what I was saying. Like for like with my dad, what happened was we went to the hospital. Like my dad chose to get help, right? So he's like, let's go to the hospital. His IV comes out, so he starts bleeding. So I go get the nurse, and the nurse looks at me and goes, "Why is your father making more work for me?" I go, "Pardon?" So at this point, my dad's bleeding everywhere. I'm bawling. The guy across the room has a broken arm, so he's seen what happens. He's like, "Miss, you need to breathe and calm down." He's like, "You need to go get another nurse." He's like, "I heard what he said to you." So I go get another nurse, a female nurse, and she's like, "Why don't you go get your own nurse?" Like the nurse that he's with. I said, "I did," but he said, like, I'm making more work for him. At this point, I'm video recording it, right? And I'm telling them that I'm video recording it. As soon as I say that, of course, attitudes change. So my dad's whole mentality after that was, I would rather die than go back to the hospital. They look at me like I'm a junkie. I'm trying to get help. I'm asking for help. They throw me in a hallway with people that have handcuffs like I'm a criminal.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that we're already in this predicament is because the government doesn't really care. I mean, the wait times in emergency rooms is
Kill them all and start fresh.
8 hours. Like Louise, what you were saying was you feel that if an individual is not critically ill, that they should still have to be screened, I guess, in a way. Is that what you're trying to say? Or
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know how they would screen that. Like, I mean, how would they, if I'm like, I hate my life and I want to end it,
Psychology.
what's the psychologist going to say? Oh,
They're gonna do it one
better
way
go,
or
you know?
another. Like,
Yeah.
what are the stats on suicide, right?
Oh, they hide that now, right? So a lot of the stats, and I looked into this, a lot of the stats over COVID were hidden and they still won't release them. They're not releasing the amount of suicides that took place because a lot of people couldn't get in touch with their therapist or their doctor or whatever, or medication, or they were isolated, right? So a lot of people went through, who already had mental health conditions or people, experiencing it newly because they were isolated.
It was crazy. People that had cancer, who had suffered cancer for like 5 years, that were dying in the hospital when COVID happened, then contracted COVID while already dying from cancer.
Were now marked down as being deaths from COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that. That was to justify what they were doing. So, my view on something like this, um, I mean, it depends on whether you believe in God. That's where I go to. If you don't believe in God, then you can go ahead and you want to take your life, take your life. If you believe in God, then you can't do that because that's against every religious belief. Whether you're Christian or a Jew or a Muslim, you cannot take your life. Suicide is not allowed. Because if you believe in God, a miracle can happen. Anything can happen. Also, whatever he's putting you through is a test that you're going through. So you can't give up. So that's the first thing. I mean, there's been people who were, in comas for 30 years and they finally came out. And the family didn't pull the plug because they had religious beliefs. Like, no, we're not going to, because a miracle can happen. And then you have some people who their loved ones in a coma, and the doctor's like, after 3 days, oh, I think it's best if you pull it. Like, okay, we're just going to pull the plug. Well, it's like, are they brain dead? No, but we still think that it's a waste of money and resource.
Like, we need the room, please.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
So that's the thing about hospitals is they treat you like a checkbox. Like I was in there for 2 years straight for something, and they treated me so awful. Like I wasn't even allowed to use the washroom without them watching me, and then they would yell at me. I think one time they put me into a room and they didn't even feed me for a week. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with. I mean, I cannot just blame the people who work in the medical industry. It's our government as well
Yeah.
too, with what they pay them
hmm
and the hours that they have to work as well. But also, it's become the norm.
Yeah.
So it's right. So if you go to emergency, you're waiting 5-6 hours,
Mhm.
and it depends on where. Like I live in Oakville, so here the wait time's a little bit less. But if you're like in downtown Toronto or something, Brampton or whatever, you're waiting like 12 hours, 11 hours. And a lot of people die while they're waiting. And if you're like in a rural place, good luck. So it's become the norm and people accepted it. And then because of that, the people who work in the industry continue with the same type of
Mhm.
work ethic.
They also have like a stigma against certain things as well. Like I was there for mental health. Like some of the nurses, they weren't like they didn't know about it. Like they weren't taught about what I had. So then and that's like for anything, right? They treat it the best way they know how, but because the government didn't teach them how to properly treat these patients, they
Yeah.
treat them like they're the checkbox or they've done something wrong.
Yeah, that's horrible. Even during COVID, I know that what were those workers that they had that would go to the old folks' homes? What do you call it?
PSW? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know what they did with the PSWs? Because no one that was local wanted to do that job. So they hired immigrants and they paid them $2 more an hour and thought that that would be attractive. So from $14, they paid them like 60, 50 or $17. And then they had to work in these conditions where these old people in these retirement homes were sexually abusing them, physically abusing them, throwing their feces and stuff at them, accusing them all kinds of shit. And they were being abused every single day.
Wow.
And they still had to go and they had to follow the COVID protocol, make sure everyone's wearing a mask, everything's being sanitized, just horrible conditions. And then because they didn't have enough workers based on the amount of patients that were there, at the same time, you had some people who were not getting the attention that they needed. These elderly people weren't getting the attention that they needed. And they were just dying left, right, and center. And the government couldn't give a shit. Like the Ontario government effed up so bad, even though Doug Ford's mother-in-law died in one of these homes. And he had promised he's going to really take action and make sure that all these retirement homes are up to par, that they have enough workers that are going to be there, that they're going to get nurses to go in as well too to help out. Instead, they had the Canadian military come in. Like, what the hell are soldiers going to do? Did you guys know that? Yeah, they had the Canadian military come in. That's not going to help. So I truly believe, and this goes for most governments in the West, once you're no longer contributing, you're now a liability. If you're not paying taxes, right? You're not buying stuff and so on, and you're an old guy and you're retired, you're getting a pension and you got Medicare and all that kind of stuff, you're a liability. The sooner they can take you off the grid, the better it is for the bottom dollar for the government. Here's the number. You got to go because we've gotten so used to taking our elderly and putting them in a retirement home.
That's why you have to have family members to advocate. You can't just leave them.
But I'm saying even families though. Like, I mean,
I know you'd. Oh,
most of my close friends, their parents are in retirement homes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why wouldn't you have your dad? It's like, I'm not going to have my fucking dad stay. Are you crazy?
yeah,
Not
you
gonna
have that
change his
situation.
diaper and shit. I'm not dealing with that. I'm like,
Yeah.
but bro, he's your dad. It's like, yeah, well, I'm not dealing with that. And because their parents also put their parents in retirement homes.
Right.
So the kids grew up seeing this. In my culture, no way. It's frowned upon.
What if they have Alzheimer's and
Nope.
they're trying to run away
Get a nurse at home.
Yeah.
But they're staying in the house.
24 hours?
You're looking after them because they did the same for you.
We tried to have that with my grandfather where my grandma looked after him. Like, she can't do it. Like,
Hello?
because of her age. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, they live in Sarnia and, like, my parents live in Kitchener. So they will go once a month to see them. But they also have full-time jobs. So they can't go every single day and look after him.
I understand the reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
What I'm telling you is, remember what we talked about earlier. Once it becomes the norm, you think it's right, but it's not right because these elderly people are forgotten about. Like, I remember I dated this girl and her grandparents were victims of the Holocaust. They were Polish. Okay. And literally, like, her grandfather, like, his thumb was chopped off. He used to dig mass graves and put dead bodies in there and whatever. And he became an alcoholic because of it, to forget about all that. And whenever there were family get-togethers, no one talked to him. His grandchildren didn't give a shit about him. His sons or they're just like, whatever, because he always would talk about war stories and all that and blah, blah, blah. And no one, I still love sitting down with him and I talked to him for hours and hours and hours every day. And he would just love to talk. And so most of these people, after you're, when you get to the age like around 65, you're disposable. No one gives a shit about you anymore. Your value goes down because everyone's preoccupied. Your children are busy with their children. Your grandchildren are busy just enjoying life. And you're just kind of there. You'll go and visit once in a while. We have to go visit grandpa, whatever. Ugh, I hate going to see him. His room stinks. It smells funny. And there's some weird people in the building, whatever. And you go there like, hey, grandpa. Your grandpa's in a bad mood, obviously, because it's like, what the fuck are you doing coming to see me now once every 2 weeks? And he doesn't really give it, he knows he's been neglected, right? So what's the conversation going to be? What'd you eat today, grandpa? And like, what'd you do today? Why don't you, like, everyone talks to him like he's an idiot and he's stupid, right? And he's isolated. And so the grandkids don't want to go visit him because it's annoying. It's like, oh, I got to spend, waste 3 hours of my day. It's like, Mom, I don't want to go. A lot of the kids don't want to go, right? So I feel that once you go over the age of 65, for most people, your value's gone. Especially when you get to 70. 70, you're like, your kids are like, okay, this is a retirement home. That's where you're going.
If you're healthy and you keep your mind healthy, I know a lot of older people that have a lot to share and
But
a lot of
but
knowledge to
is that
share.
the status quo? No, you're talking about the minority, right? Like that's not. I'm talking about the majority.
Yeah.
Majority of people who get into their 70s are not healthy. They're not very healthy,
Unfortunately,
and
yeah.
financially they're not stable.
And you got to hope that they have a family that loves them enough. And a lot of cultures do. So we can't put them all into one box because there are a lot of cultures that really, really do respect.
I agree that.
Their-
agree with
their-
you. I said my culture is that way, but I'm
Yeah.
saying even with that,
Mm.
majority of the elderly are forgotten about. Majority, not all.
Because you go from baby, it's almost like a full circle, right? Like a baby starts out totally, you have
Dependent.
totally dependent on you, and then all of a sudden you're this independent adult, and then you start declining,
Dependent again.
and you kind of
But the
wear the
people-
diapers and everything, right?
But the people that depended on you, you cannot depend on them. That's what happens.
You can't.
Not all, but majority.
Yeah.
I'm saying majority of the people. If you were to have a room with 100 people who are over the age of 70, I am very confident that 60% of them or more are not being looked after by their family.
Is that a sign of like severe societal
Failure.
failure?
Yes. That's why I brought this up because
But who are we to blame? Because I kind of think, and like, I'm sorry for saying this, but if your parents treated you the way that you felt you should have been treated, and if you don't have deep wounds from your childhood, you were spared like trauma, you're gonna want to care. You're gonna have that inside you. There's gonna be an element
I don't know.
of it.
I'm gonna counteract that just because like my grandmother was great. I had a wonderful childhood. Great, like she did great birthdays, Christmases, everything, and she was healthy into her early 70s, late 70s. An incident happened, and she had a stroke, and she was left purposely untreated for about 4 hours, and then that caused her to not be able to walk again and lose control of one arm. And like society, my dad was just like put her in a nursing home because it was an easier decision, even though like he was going through his own thing, but essentially she had her own home. He could have just hired a nurse, right? And I look at it now, and even though she's probably like 20-minute drive down the road, like a $30-$40 Uber, you get caught up with work and life and this. And even if it is, sometimes it's not even once a week. And I actually haven't gone for months at this point. And when I seen my stepmom the other day, she's like, she's asking about you. And it's so depressing because this woman worked her whole life, had her own house, did everything for her fucking family. And this is so ironic. Her window looks out to where the garage door is, where the ambulance comes in the middle of nighttime to pick up the people that died during the day, so not to freak people out. So she knows all the tea. Yeah, and so she gets so uberly depressed, and you could tell this woman's got like at least another 10, 15 years to go, and she's like, I'm not doing this. Like she asked me if I could get a gun at one point, like pew at one point. She's like, is there any? That's what she did. And
I have to say, Kimberly, what you were saying earlier about trauma, right? That was a really good thing you kind of mentioned about parents. If you grew up with parents that didn't really cause you major trauma, whatever, all parents cause all children trauma. All parents.
I know.
Pretty much every single issue that you have is because of your parents. There's no way around it unless you're adopted, whatever. And again, you're affected by your parents who abandoned you. But all of the insecurities, so the good as well too. The good you also got from your parents, but all of the insecurities that you have, all of the doubts, all of the fears, they were all instilled into you indirectly or directly by the way your parents raised you. So, who's to blame? I believe that the parents, number one, are, because children will mimic what they see. So if they see that, oh, mom and dad put, grandma and grandpa in a retirement home. All right, well, I'm going to put, how the hell could they do that to granny, right? Because they love her. Well, I'm going to do the same shit to my parents when they get older, because that's what you've taught them, right? But if they were raised, like in my household, for example, if I see that my grandparents were in my parents' house and they died in that house and they were looked after and treated with respect. So when we sat down, we ate dinner, no one touched anything until my grandfather sat down, and he's the one who broke bread first, and everybody else did. So there's that respect and hierarchy. Now I'm like, oh my God, look at the respect my grandfather got. My children, when I have them, they're gonna see me treat my father the same way, and then they're gonna treat me the same way. But if my parents, like you said, oh, whatever, granddad fell down the stairs, we're not dealing with him anymore. Off he goes. It's too much of a headache. Well, what are my kids gonna do?
There's a really interesting quote that I heard, and I hope I get it right. It states that the way that you treat your adult parents is a reflection of how you felt from your parents as a child.
Hmm.
So if you are treating your adult parents some way, distance, or
That's how you felt when you were a
that's how
child.
you felt when you were a
That's
Yeah.
deep. I
child.
like that.
There's another saying in Taoism that says that the demons that you don't conquer, your children will have to conquer them.
Oh,
Right. So I think that all of this comes back to mental health. I feel that mental health is neglected in the medical field, especially. You know, there's so many countries that believe that mental health is fake. You guys know that?
But
There's a
there's
lot of
also
Eastern European countries like mental. That's all bullshit. That's drama. The girl's acting like she's got no problems. You know, a good kick in the ass and she'll be okay. That's the mentality. Most people don't believe that mental health is real. People believe that people are faking it for attention, especially the youth, the younger generation that suffer from it. A lot of people don't buy it.
there's our genetic makeup as well. So
Mhm.
our genetic makeup gets carried down 14 generations. So if there was war, if there was,
Okay.
famine, abuse, that can trickle down
Mhm.
genetically and come into the body.
And then
So
and affect you.
and affect your mental state. It can even affect your health. So breaking the cycle for mental health, learning how to find love within is
And coping mechanisms and so on.
Cope, right. That's why people
Yeah.
are doing
oh,
breath work and
Yoga, all
meditation
that.
and
Yeah.
yoga, and
Yeah.
all of these things are a way to regulate your nervous system, not just from the life that we're living right now, but from the generations to generations
That makes sense.
that we're carrying through. And if we can stand up and stop it along, then our children won't have to bear it. Or you could teach them the tools that need to be done in order for them to grow and prosper without having to look for porn and this and
Or
that.
drugs or whatever.
Anything.
Alcohol.
Anything.
Well,
Everything
were you
comes
gonna
from
say?
within.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about what you're saying there about generational. I heard that like things like mental health issues nowadays, like anxiety, was a survival in the past. You had high anxiety, you were like alert for wild animals or something.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of our mental health maybe has had a function at one
it
point.
evolved
You know
in the
what?
wrong way.
Yeah,
In,
yeah.
in all honesty, from my experiences and talking to so many people and meeting people, the individuals that are to be blamed are parents, 100%. And because we now live in this society where everyone's very selfish. We're so self-consumed. We have like, Instagram pages with like, imagine if you went to someone's house and when you're having tea, they pulled out photo albums with the same shit that's in their Instagram or their camera roll. Like picture their shoes. Oh, these are the shoes that I just went to in the store. Did you buy them? No, I just looked at them. Aren't they cute? It's like, what the fuck? This is the latte that I had earlier. It's like, what? The latte? When was this? Oh, 6 months ago? Why do you have a photo of a latte that you had? This is a photo of a car that I saw in a parking lot. What? Like, so we're so into ourselves. Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. It's all about me. Me, me, me. I'm the center of attention. Everyone look at me. I'm special, blah, blah, blah. Right? With that mentality, now you decide to have a partner, and that partner also has that certain percentage of me. I'm an individual. It's all about me. Now, when you have children, because you're so self-consumed, you don't give that child the love that they need or the attention that they need or the hugs that they need. Right. So you're a little bit, you're almost kind of like, oh no, I want my child to learn things on their own. Well, listen, no problem. There'll be a time for that. But right now you need to be holding their hand. Don't teach them to bounce on their own and fall flat in their face and get back up again. That's going to scar them as they move forward. And it's not necessarily purposely done, I believe. A lot of it's because they're just so self-consumed. You know how many moms I meet or I see, they're like these primped up dolls and they're so focused on themselves and they couldn't give a shit what's happening with the kid. Just keep giving them sugar and whatever it is, but they're just consumed by themselves. It's all about them, right? And then you wonder why when their daughter grows up and she's 15, she has no respect for the mother and they argue all the time and she swears at the mom and hates her guts. And by the time she's 18, she moves out and doesn't talk to her mom ever again. And now when the mom gets old, yeah, she's going to go into a rubber room. I'm not going to take care of you. You're going to an old folks home. I don't give a shit, right? So I think that if you're going to have children, it's tougher to adopt a dog from the Humane Society than it is to have a child. Anybody can have a child. A crack whore can have a child.
There's a difference between a father and a dad and a mother
100%.
and a mom.
100%. Anyone can be a father. It takes someone special to be a dad.
Yeah.
So with animals, if you were to go to the local SPCA and you want to adopt a dog, they're going to send someone to your house. You guys know that?
Yeah.
They send someone to your house.
Not just once either. I think it's like 2 or 3 times. They do like a family, a preliminary.
They want to see that you have the space for it. They want to see you've got enough food for it, that you're not going to abuse the dog. You have to go through all these things. And you have to pass the test to be able to just get a dog off the street. It's not even like you're buying it from a pet store. It's a free dog that they're going to euthanize anyhow. So that's how much scrutiny you have to go through. But to have a child, anyone can have a child. And even if you want, you can have a home birth. Forget about going to the hospital. And you can keep a child. And you can abuse the shit out of the child. It's okay.
Hashtag sweatshop.
Yeah. So I blame the parents. I blame when the parents, if you're going to decide to have children, you need to change your priorities. And if you're not going to do that, then your children will grow up with some serious mental health issues. And then they're going to pass it on to the next generation and so on.